Did you know that up to 20% of artworks in major collections could be forgeries or misattributions? We're not talking about street corner knockoffs. These are paintings hanging in world-class galleries, authenticated, and sold for millions. The line between a genuine masterpiece and a brilliant fake is often razor-thin. The art market, built on expert opinion and provenance, is surprisingly vulnerable. The most successful forgers are not just copyists, they're psychologists, historians, and actors. Among them, one name stands out, Elmyr de Hory, a master whose greatest creation was the illusion of authenticity. His story forces us to ask, if a fake brings joy and fools the experts, is it any less a masterpiece? Elmyr de Hory, born Elmyr Hoffmann in Budapest, was a man of many names and even more secrets. His life was a tapestry woven from fact and fiction, a story that blurred the lines between reality and myth. From the very beginning, Elmyr seemed destined for a life less ordinary, his charm and wit opening doors in the most exclusive circles. He claimed aristocratic roots and classical training, but his life was a patchwork of truth and invention. Elmyr often reinvented his past, telling tales of noble lineage and prestigious art academies, yet the real details were always just out of reach. His ability to reinvent himself was as impressive as his skill with a paintbrush. After World War II left him penniless in Paris, Elmyr discovered his uncanny ability to mimic the styles of Picasso, Matisse, and Modigliani. In the bohemian heart of the city, surrounded by struggling artists and the ghosts of old masters, he found his true calling, not as an original artist, but as a master of imitation. He didn't copy existing works. Instead, he created new pieces that could plausibly fill gaps in a master's career. Each painting was an original, yet it felt as if it belonged to another era, another hand. Elmyr's genius lay in his ability to channel the spirit of the greats, inventing works that art historians wished existed. This made his forgeries nearly impossible to detect. Even the most seasoned experts were fooled, unable to distinguish his creations from authentic masterpieces. His works passed through the hands of collectors, dealers, and museums, each convinced they had discovered a lost treasure. Elmyr became a channeler of dead artists, producing works that fooled experts and collectors alike. His brushwork, his choice of materials, even the way he aged his canvases, all contributed to the illusion. He was not just a forger, but a performer, playing the role of genius after genius. His output, over 1,000 forged works, flooded the global art market. Paintings attributed to the likes of Modigliani and Matisse traveled across continents, fetching fortunes at auctions and gracing the walls of prestigious galleries. The art world was captivated and deceived by his prolific talent. He became a legend, not for his own name, but for the masterpieces he created under others. Elmyr's true identity remained hidden in the shadows, while his art, signed with the names of legends, took center stage. He was both everywhere and nowhere, a phantom in the world of art. Elmyr de Hory, the most famous artist you've never truly seen. His story is a testament to the power of illusion and a reminder that in the world of art, sometimes the greatest masterpieces are the ones that never truly existed. Elmyr's forgeries began with the right materials: antique paper scavenged from flea markets, old canvases carefully scraped clean of their original images, and a treasure trove of vintage art supplies. He was meticulous, searching for the perfect textures and fibers that would pass even the closest inspection. Each item on his workbench was chosen with purpose, echoing the era he intended to recreate. He would grind and mix pigments by hand, using recipes from the past, ensuring the colors matched the faded hues of the masters. The smell of linseed oil and mineral dust filled his studio as he recreated the very chemistry of history. To mimic the passage of time, Elmyr baked his canvases in old ovens, coaxing out the delicate craquelure, those tiny cracks that only decades can create. He'd even rub dust into the crevices, aging the surface until it whispered of forgotten years. But the real magic was in his process. He'd immerse himself in an artist's life, reading their letters, diaries, and studying every brushstroke in their works. He became a chameleon, absorbing their habits, their obsessions, until he could channel their style instinctively, almost as if he was possessed by their creative spirit. Each forgery was a performance, quick, bold lines for Modigliani, light, airy touches for Dufy. He practiced endlessly, perfecting the rhythm and energy of each artist's hand, so that every painting felt alive with their unique presence. Elmyr mastered signatures, sometimes adding a subtle imperfection, a flourish here, a hesitation there, so that even experts would be convinced of their authenticity. He'd add faded dedications, personal notes, or even a smudge, enhancing the illusion that these works had lived real lives and passed through many hands. He'd invent elaborate provenance, stamping the back with the marks of imaginary galleries or collectors, building a believable backstory for each piece. Sometimes, he'd go further, creating fake gallery labels, complete with dates and addresses, to cement the painting's supposed journey through time. The result? Not just a convincing image, but a convincing history. A work of art with a past as rich and complex as any genuine masterpiece. His forgeries didn't just look right, they felt right. They carried the weight of memory, the aura of authenticity that fooled even the most seasoned eyes. That's why they slipped so easily into the world's most prestigious collections, hanging beside genuine works, their secrets hidden in plain sight. Elmyr's genius was making the fake indistinguishable from the real, crafting illusions so perfect they became part of art history itself. Elmyr's Modigliani forgeries were so convincing that one hung for years in Harvard's Fogg Art Museum. He mimicked Matisse's vibrant lines and Fauvist colors, filling galleries in Paris, New York, and London with newly discovered works. His range was astonishing: Dufy, Picasso, Degas, each style perfectly captured. One Texas oil millionaire even built a museum around a collection later revealed to be riddled with Elmyr's fakes. Elmyr's network of associates spun elaborate stories and forged certificates to sell his art. The combination of a brilliant forgery and a romantic backstory proved irresistible. His work sold for tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. Elmyr's beautiful lies became the backbone of many prestigious collections. Elmyr evaded capture for years, thanks to intermediaries and the art world's willful blindness. Dealers, eager for profit, rarely questioned the charming baron selling masterpieces at a bargain. If a forgery was exposed, blame fell on the gallery, not Elmyr. Authentication relied on expert opinion, and few wanted to admit they'd been fooled. Elmyr's nomadic lifestyle, Paris, New York, Ibiza, kept him one step ahead. On Ibiza, he lived as a local eccentric, hosting lavish parties, his true identity hidden. The art market's secrecy and pride protected him as much as his own cunning. Hundreds of his works quietly entered the world's most prestigious markets. Elmyr was a ghost, his legend growing, even as his name remained unknown. Elmyr's downfall began with greed. What started as a clever game of deception soon spiraled out of control. The thrill of fooling the art world, of seeing his forgeries hang alongside genuine masterpieces, became addictive. But as his reputation among dealers grew, so did the risks. His dealers, eager for profit, sold too many fakes to the same collectors, pushing their luck and drawing unwanted attention. The web of deceit began to unravel. Texas oilman Alger Meadows, a passionate collector, noticed a suspicious similarity among his masterpieces. The brushwork, the colors, even the canvas felt oddly familiar. Sensing something was amiss, he called in a team of art experts to investigate. Scientific analysis revealed the truth. Modern pigments and mismatched materials betrayed the supposed age of the paintings. The evidence was undeniable. These were not the works of old masters. The scandal erupted, sending shockwaves through the art world and leading investigators back to flamboyant dealer Fernand Legros, whose lavish lifestyle had long raised eyebrows. The trail of forged art finally led to a quiet corner of Ibiza, where Elmyr had been living in relative obscurity, painting in peace. Instead of hiding, Elmyr embraced his infamy, granting interviews, collaborating on a biography, and sharing his story with the world. He seemed to relish the attention, turning his exposure into a new kind of fame. He even starred in Orson Welles' F for Fake, blurring the lines between truth and illusion, art and forgery, for a fascinated public. Legally, Elmyr faced little consequence. The law struggled to catch up with his clever schemes. He'd rarely signed the masters' names himself, making prosecution difficult, and leaving authorities with little evidence to convict him. By the time the truth emerged, statutes of limitation had expired and the window for legal action had closed. He served only a brief sentence for unrelated charges, escaping the full weight of justice for his forgeries. But his quiet life was over. Elmyr could no longer hide in the shadows, his anonymity shattered forever. He was now the world's most notorious art forger, his name splashed across headlines and whispered in galleries worldwide. The man behind the masterpieces was finally unmasked, his secret life exposed for all to see. Elmyr's legend was now public, his story captivating a world eager for tales of genius and deception. His secret exposed to the world, Elmyr de Hory became a symbol of both scandal and brilliance in the art world's history. The art world reeled as Elmyr's forgeries were exposed. Museums quietly removed fakes from their walls, experts' reputations crumbled. Collectors saw fortunes evaporate as prized works became worthless. The scandal shattered confidence in connoisseurship. If a forgery could fool the best, what could be trusted? Scientific testing and documented provenance became the new standard. Yet hundreds of Elmyr's fakes remain undetected, still hanging in private homes and galleries. Ironically, Elmyr himself became collectible, his genuine fakes now sought after for their story. He began painting under his own name, his signature finally valuable. The forger who imitated others became a legend in his own right. Elmyr's story left the art world forever changed. Elmyr de Hory's story forced the art world to rethink authenticity and value. His forgeries, admired for years, raised a question: does beauty lose value if it's by the wrong hand? The scandal humbled experts and accelerated scientific authentication. Provenance became essential. Art needed a paper trail, not just a convincing look. Elmyr blurred the line between artist and conman, exposing the art market's obsession with names over talent. Orson Welles' F for Fake captured this ambiguity, making Elmyr a symbol of art's gray areas. His legacy is a persistent question mark, a reminder that masterpieces can be born from lies. Even today, his influence lingers, a crack in the veneer of artistic certainty. Elmyr de Hory's life ended in 1976, facing extradition and unable to escape his past. He left behind not riches but a legend, and a world forever changed. His story is a lesson in critical thinking. Question what you see and the stories you're told. In an age of deepfakes and digital illusions, Elmyr's analog deception feels more relevant than ever. Authenticity is elusive. Seeing isn't always knowing. As you view art, remember Elmyr's story. Appreciate the beauty, but question the history. The world is full of beautiful fakes, and sometimes their stories are the most fascinating of all.